This episode is a Rising Phoenix production. Rising Phoenix is a new student-led initiative to cover Elon athletics. Through innovative content creation and storytelling, Elon University students will have the opportunity to highlight the moments, people, and events that make an impact, leveraging the athletic department's various web and social media platforms for distribution. For more content and information, follow Rising Phoenix on Twitter at EU Rising Phoenix and Instagram at Elon Rising Phoenix. Enjoy the show. Hello and welcome back. This is episode 3 of the Rising Phoenix podcast. I'm your host, Chase Strasser. If you have not already, make sure to check out the first 2 episodes of the podcast. Today we're doing something a little different. For the first time in Rising Phoenix podcast history, I won't be joined by just one guest. Instead, I'm joined by 2. Today on the podcast, I'm joined by Kerri Jones and Kerri Coffman. Kennedy and Kerri, welcome to the podcast, and thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
So to start, the way we always do, go ahead and introduce yourselves, where you're from, your sport, and any other facts you'd like us to know.
My name's Kerri. I'm a senior on the women's soccer team, and I am from just north of Charlotte, North Carolina, in Mooresville, around Lake Norman area.
My name is Kerri Jones, and I am from Charlotte, and I'm also on the women's soccer team.
I always love hearing the stories of how you came to love your sport, in this case soccer, how you discovered that passion. What are your guys' stories, and how did you start playing, and when did you know you could play at the next level?
Wow, okay, so I started playing soccer when I was about 6 years old. I kind of just joined a little team behind the fire station in my neighborhood, and it was just like a small group of little kids, and we were just playing like that. I also picked up tennis at that time, and I was playing both sports, and I actually quit soccer for a little bit to play tennis, but then I decided that I didn't like tennis because I kept losing, so I wanted to go back to the team sport of soccer, and yeah, I just started playing club from there, and I just kept playing until high school was when I kind of realized that collegiate soccer was kind of a path that I could take, and I decided to pursue that path, and that's how I got up to Elon.
Yeah, so my path is pretty similar. I started playing just rec league probably when I was 5 or 6, and then probably around 4th grade or 3rd grade I started playing club at a young age, and then around high school is when I realized that I could maybe pursue that collegiately, and then I'm at Elon.
So you two have played together for a very long time. I believe someone told me it was 12 years. Describe your connection and what your experience has been like playing together at various levels of competition.
Okay, I'll go first. Yeah, so me and Kennedy have known each other probably since maybe like 5th or 6th grade, I would say. And we've always played together. We haven't really ever played like the same position, so I feel like we've always kind of been on the field together. I've usually been in club. I used to play midfield, but I also played center back, and Kennedy always played midfield or sometimes forward. She kind of got put wherever. So I feel like we have kind of that connection, and here I just know like I can trust Kennedy. I know how she plays. I know how she's going to react, and I feel like that was really valuable in the past couple seasons we've been here. I've also gotten to do like amazing things with her throughout the club careers. Like we've gone very many places. We've won a lot of stuff, and it's been really cool like seeing not only like my progression as a player but also Kennedy's. And Kennedy, even though she's younger than me, has always been a player that I've looked up to because I've always admired her work ethic. She's always been one of the hardest working people on any team that I've played with her, whether it be club, collegiate, anything really.
Well, thanks, Kerri. Yeah, as you said, we've basically had so many experiences together growing up. I mean, her being a center back and me being above, having her behind me is just comforting because, if I mess up, I know that there's someone to clean it all up. But, yeah, we've been to abroad and won many things together, and I do agree it's cool seeing both of our progressions, especially from a young age now to college.
Do you guys have a favorite time in your careers together, like a memory you both can think of, or maybe it's separate memories?
Leaving Kennedy as a teammate from club going to college was something that was kind of sad because I played with her for so long, but I also got to play with her older sister Carson, which is how I originally found out about Elon. And then when I found out the news that Kennedy was coming to Elon, it kind of brought a sense of comfort, and I was really excited because I knew that Kennedy would bring a lot to the team. But a favorite memory that I would have other than that news would probably be, oh goodness, I would say going abroad with her to one of the bigger soccer tournaments in the world, like Gothia Cup or Dana Cup. Yeah, also winning State Cup.
State Cups,
yeah, and when we went to Colorado for National League, that was fun too.
Whenever we won together, it
Yeah.
was really fun.
Winning is great.
Yeah. But yeah, I think coming into college knowing, like she said, my sister and Kerri was really comforting, because it kind of eased the transition a little. But yeah, I mean, I'd say abroad was the most fun, and we get to go abroad again together, so.
So you two kind of answered my question asking about, you mentioned Carson. And did your guys' relationship, and of course with Carson and with yourselves, did that have a factor in you choosing Elon and committing to Elon? So, like I said, Carson was already here for a couple years, and then Kerri came, Kennedy, you followed. Were those relationships part of the reason you came?
I would say when I committed, actually, COVID hadn't happened, so Carson didn't have a COVID year, so I didn't think I was playing with her until after COVID. But I know I was playing with Kerri. But yeah, I think that they didn't have necessarily a huge effect on whether I came to Elon or not, but that it definitely was a great additive after already knowing that I was going there.
Yeah, knowing that Carson was here, even though we played with Carson when we were very young, our coaches, we had the same coach, and we would do dual practices, so we would get to play against the older girls. Knowing Carson was here didn't really influence my decision, other than that it opened the door for me, the opportunity. I didn't even realize, even though I'm from North Carolina, I didn't realize Elon was necessarily here, just because it's a smaller school, and I didn't really know anybody who went here. So that was the influence that Carson had on my decision.
So, Kerri, you wear number 23. Kennedy, you wear number 24. Was that just chance, or was that on purpose that you guys lined up right next to each other?
Me choosing it second, if I'm being completely honest, I was sent a whole list of numbers and sizes, and I think it was a little bit by chance, but I mean, a great addition, honestly.
So funny story, when I was picking my numbers, Kennedy has always worn number 14, through our whole, club career, and 14 was one of the numbers that I had a choice of picking, and I saw it, and I was like, oh my gosh, Kennedy's gonna be pissed, I can't pick 14. So I picked 23 because of the sizing, one, and also I was number 20 in high school and 3 in club. And so when I combined those, it was 23. But yeah, 23 and 24 were just by chance, but I almost picked 14 thinking of Kennedy.
Yeah, I guess I kept the 4 and 14, so. Oh man, I would have been so mad.
It all worked out in the end. Sadly, the season is over, the 2023 season. What were some of the things that surprised you about this season and your takeaways? And then finally, you guys had a really great incoming freshman class. What excites you about the future of the team?
As a senior who's leaving, seeing how much talent that is being brought onto this team is really exciting, just because I know that with the talent that's already on the team and the experience. Once those players grow up and possibly even next year, our team could be really good. We just need a little bit more experience within those younger players, and I think this season was really good for them to see what conference play was like, how the physicality of it is, and to see like how close the games can actually be, because Towson, who won the whole conference and also the conference tournament, we only lost to them 2-1, and even though our record doesn't really show how well we did this season, I think that next season our games hopefully will bounce our way in terms of losing by 1 goal, 2 goals. There wasn't really a game where we lost by more than 2 goals this season, I don't think. So I think with those players having more experience and then new players coming in next year as well, they can have a really successful season, which is really exciting.
I had the pleasure of watching a majority of your games this season from the box. And like you said, the record wasn't what you guys wanted it to be, but you got to end the season on that 3-0 home win against Charleston. What did it feel like, especially for you, Kerri, because it was kind of your senior send-off, just to finish off on a good note?
Yeah, it definitely meant a lot. My class and myself could definitely feel the energy of the team and how much we wanted that win and how much we deserved it. And all the effort that we've put in over the years, it just really felt good to step on Rudd for one last time and finally just leave on a positive note after suffering through a lot of games during the season and things not going how we thought they would go. But yeah, I'm really thankful for the effort that the team put in, especially during that last game, to make my last time on Rudd Field super special. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that that game was just kind of a start to our new season next year, because obviously our record wasn't as we expected, but as Kerri said earlier, that it was only marginal things. So I think throughout the season we just kept getting better and better and better, and that was just a true take of our capabilities for next year.
Well, a game I got to witness firsthand was the Hampton game, which was great. There was a lot of records broken, especially the big one being McKenna D'Alfonso's all-time shutout record, which she now sits atop of the leaderboards. What was it like? Because it was for a few weeks there, it was just we kept trying to see if McKenna would break the record, and finally she did. So what was it like to see her finally accomplish that? And were you guys aware that the record was close? And again, what was it like just waiting in anticipation over those weeks?
We were aware, yeah, that it was coming soon. And it was great to see McKenna accomplish that, and I think it was great for our team having a more positive note.
Yeah, McKenna has always been such a goal-oriented person, and I feel like that record was something that she was striving to beat after her very first season at Elon, which she did super well that year when we won the conference tournament. And I know she put a lot of pressure on herself, but I don't think she was also aware that everybody else on the field was also putting a lot of pressure on themselves to help her break that record. And all the results before Hampton, where we were giving up goals and losing by marginal errors, was really upsetting for us, because we did want to win those games and we also wanted to help McKenna break that record. And finally seeing her break that record against Hampton was just kind of like she said earlier, like a weight lifted off of her shoulders, and also our shoulders, and it kind of was just great seeing her achieve that.
Apart from Elon, you guys have had the chance to play for several different teams over the years together. I know that you guys have spent the last few summers with the Charlotte Independents. Explain your experience with that team and how it helped you prepare for your seasons with Elon.
Yeah, the Charlotte Independents W League team has been a great experience, kind of just exposing Kennedy and I to that semi-pro environment. It's a little different than Elon in terms of, I would.
Different kind of players.
Yeah, it's different players, different coach, different playing styles. You're kind of getting mixed around. I played attacking mid for a large part of our summer season, which was valuable because I played attacking mid for the first half of my junior season, so I got to gain experience there in a position that I normally wouldn't play.
Yeah, I mean, every team's the same, how, like, it's a bunch of college kids that have from various schools that, like, don't normally play together, and you have a short time period to get to know how the other teammates play. So, I mean, and like, the coaches there are trying to use the players that they have and not necessarily like the positions that they're given, so they kind of just, like, I played center forward, I'm pretty sure, like, all last summer, but you, from different positions, you can still learn valuable skills and different things that you can apply back to Elon. But it's a different experience in Elon. It's not like good or bad, it's just different.
It's also valuable in the fact that you're playing against players from, like, big name schools like Arkansas, Georgia, like, just to name a few. Yeah, Mississippi State. And it's kind of like a confidence builder, knowing that Kennedy and I can play against those players and we're good enough. So it kind of prepares us for those big games like South Carolina, NC State, Virginia Tech.
Before we started recording, you were listing off all the places abroad that you guys have gotten the chance to play at. What has been your favorite, and what is that experience like, playing in a completely different country?
I think my favorite was Sweden, just because there we played in the
Gothia Cup,
right?
Yeah,
that wasn't
Dana Cup is Denmark.
Okay, we played in the Gothia Cup, and we actually got to play in, they have like they have, the way the Gothia Cup works is they're like all these age groups, and they also have like a pro league, because overseas, like, their clubs are like all the professional leagues that have like lower age groups within those professional leagues. So, like, we actually got to play against like Rosengard in front of, and we set a attendance record.
It was like over
Sweden.
9,000 people.
Yeah, it was for a women's game there. But it's really cool to play in that environment, and like, you're playing against girls that are your age getting paid to play soccer. And in that case, like, in front of so many people, so it's a high level, and it was just fun.
Yeah, I would agree with Kennedy. My favorite experience was Gothia Cup Sweden, just because it's one of the biggest youth tournaments in the world, and people come from all over the world to participate in it. Like, there were teams from South Africa. Yeah, the opening ceremony is extremely cool. We all got into this big arena, and everybody dressed up in their, like, country's colors, and it was super fun. And you just meet people all around the world, and you guys all have one common thing, and that's playing soccer, and it's really uniting. And like Kennedy said, the playing against Rosengard in front of over 9,000 people was an insane experience. They're all just there to watch, like, us play, and we were like probably 16, 17 at the time, so yeah, that was definitely an unforgettable experience.
Following up, was there any barriers to playing abroad that some people wouldn't think about?
Well, this relates to when I was there, because I went when I was young, like 5th grade, I think, and guest played, and so the one barrier was there was actually like different rules at a younger age. So like with corner kicks, you could take it at my age, you could take it anywhere between like the outside of the 18 and the corner flag, and I for some reason was the chosen one to take the corners on this Swedish team. So that was one barrier, just the rule difference, but obviously at the older age all the rules are the same, so it was fine. But
yeah, when we played in, I think it was Dana Cup, we had 2 Danish players come join our team. And that was pretty cool. But the barriers there were communication, obviously. Not that they didn't know English, but just like their style of play compared to ours, we kind of had to integrate them into our team really quickly because we met them maybe the second day we were there. We had maybe a couple practices, and then we started playing in the tournament. They were very good players, and it was really cool playing with them. But, yeah, that was one barrier, playing abroad.
So we talked about your final season, Kerri. Now, to go back to your first season, you were a member of that 2020 CAA championship team. What did you take away from that experience, and what were some of the memories that stuck with you into this season? And then for Kennedy, you weren't on that team, but your sister was, so did you learn anything from her?
Yeah, that season was really weird in the fact that we had a spring season instead of a fall season. Coming in as a freshman, I didn't really expect to be given anything. And during the tournament, I actually was injured. I was out with some weird knee, overuse injury. But I remember being on Towson's field that game and just watching the clock slowly go down. I can specifically see 8 seconds on the clock. And just that feeling of seeing everything that our team had worked up to at that point, and all the effort of the upperclassmen at that point just come together. It was a really cool experience, and I hope that the team next year gets to experience that, because it's just truly unforgettable, and it just is so great experiencing the NCAA tournament too, and getting to go against those opponents that you normally wouldn't get to go against, and yeah, that was just a really cool experience.
Yeah, for me, I was watching it on my TV at home, because I couldn't go, but my parents were there, and I was watching with my sister, and it was cool to see that was the team I was gonna go on to. So having them win a CAA championship was really exciting, and the fact that I think didn't Carson score the winning goal. So yeah, I think my dad cried. It was a great day, honestly, for my entire family.
Continuing off of that, Kennedy, you had the opportunity to play with Carson, your older sister. And like Kerri said, it wasn't a guarantee that was going to happen. It just happened because of COVID and that changed the entire world. But for you got the opportunity to play with your sister, and the team atmosphere, it's kind of like you're playing with your sisters or with your brothers, not by blood, but to actually play with your sister, Carson. How was that, and how special was that for both of you?
Yeah, that was really special, especially because that was the first time we've ever been on an actual team together, because we're exactly 4 years apart. So in club, there would be times where we had the same the coach growing up. So there would be times where I would play with her here and there, their team. But that was the first full on team we were on, and it was just fun. And comforting, honestly, to have my sister on the field and kind of have that person to look up to, and know what you should and shouldn't do, and the transition just to college in general. But yeah, on the field with her was just really fun, and I really enjoyed watching her play too.
One of the best memories that I have when Kennedy and Carson were on the same team. I might let Kennedy tell this story, but Kennedy's first career goal at Northeastern.
Yeah, my sister had the assist, and I was actually running across the goal, and she shot it at my head, and it chipped the goalkeeper, and we won in golden goal overtime.
Yeah, we won it overtime
against Northeastern. So, yeah, that was great.
So was the assist on purpose, or she just shot it over the
I was running in front of her shot, and she just hit it. and it hit right off of my head, and it was like a perfect chip over the goalkeeper. I have no idea how that happened, but yeah.
Both of you were captains. With Kennedy, you got that promotion partway through the season. From your perspective throughout the years, what has been the role of the captain for your team, and what was your experience like in that role at different points throughout the season?
I think the role of captains throughout past years has changed, like depending on like who is the captain and captains. But I think this year, I feel like it was just leadership on the field, especially with so many young freshmen, sort of making sure that they knew the standard was still high and like where to go, and like certain things that maybe not as experienced players might not think about before college soccer. But I think it's leadership on the field, and also just like leadership off in the locker room, and making sure that people are doing the right things, and kind of helping the freshmen to like transition into college itself.
Yeah, it was definitely helpful having Kennedy join as one of the captains midway through the season, just because we did have so many underclassmen, and we felt like Kennedy would be a good role model for them to look up to, also maybe a voice that they could listen to on the field, just because as the senior class, it's sometimes hard getting so many players to follow a certain standard when there's so little of you compared to the amount of them. So yeah, having Kennedy join was definitely a blessing.
Yeah, because the freshmen almost took up half the team's roster size. What was that dynamic like, having the freshmen have to play such a crucial role right from the beginning? And then, like you said, you're outnumbered as a senior class, which was only about 5 or 6.
Yeah, definitely the freshmen did a really good job coming in, and having that role on the team, especially so many of them actually started during the game, so I'm really proud of them for stepping up and having the courage to immediately come into college soccer and be ready to play and face some really big opponents, especially like Towson, who have like their whole front line as seniors, and a lot of teams have starting 11s of very experienced players, and yeah, I think it just shows like how strong this team can be in the future and how resilient the younger class can be.
So for Kerri, it was your final season. For Kennedy, you still have one more left. For Kerri, what will be your final thoughts on the program, the team, any memories that stick out? And then for Kennedy, what are you hoping to accomplish next season?
Yeah, if I could do this whole experience over again, I 100% would. It has taught me like so many lessons. I've made so many great friends, and I'll forever be thankful for everybody that I've gotten to work with through the years, whether that be athletic trainers, coaches, strength and conditioning staff, because those have changed a lot over the years. But I definitely feel like I'm prepared to take on the real world, and I attribute that a lot to how my coaches and people around me have helped me develop as a person, along with a player, and so I'm super thankful for that. And I will never forget winning the CAA championship, of course. I have a ring to remind me of that every day. But yeah, that was a great experience, and I'm just super thankful for this opportunity, and yeah, I'm going to miss it a lot.
Well, I'm looking forward to next season. Obviously, the goal is to win a CAA championship, and I think I'm just really excited to see where we're going to go, especially, like I said earlier, with the win against Charleston at the very end. I feel like we were, like, really getting, like, ourselves together and improving every game, so it's going to do the same thing next season, and I think we ended on a great note, so we can just pick up where we left off and keep on going. And I'm just excited for the talent to get even better with their age.
So that leads me to one of my final questions, which is what's next for Kerri Coffman and Kennedy Jones? Like we mentioned, Kennedy, you still have one more season, but do you guys know where you're heading after graduation? Does that involve soccer, or where else are you guys hoping to take your talents?
For me, my goal is to go to chiropractic school. Right now, I'm not exactly sure where that is, but I hope to become a doctor of chiropractic, hopefully treating patients in the athlete community, specifically just because I know how much I benefited from chiropractic care as an athlete, especially my last couple years here at Elon. And I just think that will be a good way to continue my passion for athletics and soccer, and also combine my passion for the medical profession. So yeah, that's my plan.
My plan, I would hope if I could play somewhere. I'm not exactly sure what that looks like, and haven't looked extremely into it at the moment. But given that I have a year left, I'm trying to focus on that first. But yeah, hopefully it involves soccer, and if not, then just look for jobs relative to my major of business analytics. And I was hoping maybe to go into sports with that, and sort of do sports analytics in a way, if possible. But yeah, I'm not exactly sure what it looks like yet.
I do want to give one last opportunity for you guys to plug anything, whether that be social media or any future plans. So go ahead. And again, thank you for joining me today.
Follow Elon Women's Soccer on Instagram and Twitter. Keep up with our next season. Woo! I'm going to be on the sideline supporting. Hopefully I won't be too far away so I can come to some games.
If you are an Elon athlete, coach, or alumni interested in being featured on future episodes of the Rising Phoenix podcast, contact Jacob Kissamore at jkissamore@elon.edu. That's JKISAMORE @elon.edu. Or Chase Strasser at cstrasser@elon.edu. That's CSTRAWSER. And once again, you can follow us for more content and information on Twitter at EU Rising Phoenix and Instagram at Elon Rising Phoenix. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Rising Phoenix podcast.